Drama. Action. Comedy. Palace intrigue. Story Squad presents Clash of the Pencils. All right, welcome everybody to a calm, chilly Venus Day night here in Milford, Delaware. Will Slice defend his weekly title? Will Ehud Arakentus knock off that champion? Or is a new contender in the mix? The answers to that and more can only be found here on the Clash of the Pencils nightly live stream, the most watched creative writing esport league live stream in the history of the internet. And over the next 30 minutes, I'll be your host, Tom Sherman. We're here as we are every weeknight to review the top 3 short story submissions from around the net, get the latest scores, see who's atop the leaderboard, and of course, read the top 5 sentences of the night. So a quick reminder for all the folks out there how to play Clash of the Pencils. Each night at the end of every live stream, we will reveal the next day's prompt. And then all you have to do is grab a pen and some notebook paper and handwrite a quick one-page story in response to that prompt. Snap a picture of it and upload it to the site, and then boom, you're in the game, ready to play and win one of these sweet IOU NFTs. Every day we field anywhere from 0s to 10s of submissions, which then get run through a high-tech data science algorithm known as Storybot 3000, which uses, among other things, old ticker tape machines to analyze every story for character, plot, and setting. We then take Storybot's top 3 picks and let you, the public, determine tonight's champion and see who will win, besides, of course, fame and glory. Again, one of these IOU NFTs. This is a unique 1 out of 10,000 NFT that's actually an IOU for a future NFT from an upcoming drop from Story Squad. And what exactly does that mean? Well, the current estimated value of an IOU NFT is $100 US, but that's not exactly the full value you could get from one of these NFTs. Think of NFTs like keys to the future. Right now, as humans, we interact with businesses and organizations much like ants might their queen, slaving away day in and day out for resources to give to the queen so that she may survive. NFTs turn this one-directional relationship into a community partnership. Owning NFTs of organizations will allow those owners special perks like early access to future products, exclusive content behind paywalls, and access to the inner community. Not only that, but NFTs are transferable, allowing owners to sell at a premium, which in turn appreciate all other NFTs held by community members. So NFTs are part art, part online identity, part admission to a virtual country club, part crypto speculation, part generational wealth, and all real, baby. Honestly, these things are like insane. I'm bound by non-disclosure agreements. I'm in meetings all day about these IOU NFTs and the future upcoming NFT drop. It's insane. It would literally blow your mind if you knew what these NFTs were possible and capable of, and that's why I'm not allowed to tell you. But get one now while they're still cheap, and all it costs is a short story submission. So we've gotten a few of those submissions tonight, and let's break them down. Storybot's top 3 picks, and alongside me to help us break down those picks and give us some of that certified master of the Breadloaf School of English analysis, and that is Greg the Reader Peterson. Legend has it he only stops reading for 30 minutes a day, so thanks a lot for taking a break from that book there, Reader.
Why, fare thee well. Your brother and yourself are worthy men. You have a pair of hearts are hollow graves, rotten and rotting others, and your vengeance, like 2 chained bullets, still goes arm in arm. Oh, hey, Tom.
A little light reading there, is it?
Just a little Duchess of Malfoy. I love the early modern vengeance tales.
And speaking of early modern vengeance, let's take a look at tonight's prompt, because it's just marinating in that sort of setup. There's a new student in your school who's seated at the desk next to yours, But this isn't an ordinary student. It's a giant boa constrictor. What happens?
Let's hope it's not a vengeance tale, Tom.
Sounds like a lot of sounds like a lot of room for some vengeance. Where would you, if you were the one of these authors tonight, and you're sitting down in front of a blank page, where would you take this prompt?
Well, I would actually say, no one notices. It's kind of like maybe a Gregor Samsa moment, metamorphosis, where no one really notices the boa, because just like life goes, the dead teacher just continues droning on and on. Just normal days. Boa constrictors like they're like really struggling with common denominators along with everyone else. Nothing happens.
Boa constrictors are notoriously bad at math. So you would just kind of go with that's interesting. Not even address the elephant in the room, the boa constrictor in the room,
just like,
as it were.
Ho hum, nothing to see here.
Interesting. Let's see if any of the authors tonight take that tact. And obviously, if we look at the leaderboard, it's empty. It's first day of the Gregorian calendar week, so therefore no one on the board just yet. So let's just hop into it, see what's happening. The first entry is going to be coming in from an author who's been on the podium before, but we haven't seen in a couple weeks. Welcome back, Mustard Pickle.
Class, please welcome Hema. Her family just moved to town from Burma, Mr. Oglethorpe said with authority, smiling and nodding towards the 7-foot-long snake at his side and trailing out into the hallway. Actually, it's Myanmar, Hema said with a whisper, immediately regretting her correction as Mr. Oglethorpe's smile flattened. Oh, I'm sorry, the science teacher said. So does that mean you're a Myanmarese python? The room seemed to collapse around Hema. Social pressure often induced claustrophobia. Actually, I'm a Burmese python, she said, slinking her way to her seat amidst classroom snickers and Mr. Oglethorpe's frown.
All right, so a new snake introduced to class loses all goodwill from the teacher after correcting the science teacher on various inaccurate nomenclatures the teacher uses, causing a crushing claustrophobic panic attack in the snake. Talk about starting off on the wrong foot. All right, I'm glad you got that there. Took you. It almost went right by, and I was worried there.
Yeah, no. It's interesting that like social pressure, social anxiety, and social pressure are kind of gripping Ama, in the same way as a boa constrictor. They can kind of just grip everyone and choke the life out of them with their iron. What do you call that? Like a radial pressure?
Right. I don't know.
But
it's not Tuesday.
It was interesting it was interesting, like the claustrophobia and the social pressure seems like I want to say it echoes the act of getting crushed by a boa constrictor. This science teacher's a jerk, first and foremost. not an effective way to introduce snake or no snake. That's no way to bring a new student into your classroom. And then starting to like battle wits over like the taxonomic accuracy of what they are. Like, hey, nice to meet you. I'm actually from Myanmar, but I'm a Burmese. Yeah, it was well done. It was well done. It had no plot, obviously. The setting, I can get it through it was really a character-driven piece about science teachers. Have you ever? I guess there are a few cool ones, but they're cool in like a goofy way, right? There's never any that are like super sophisticated at reading the room and connecting through language. Maybe I'm wrong. Of all the subjects, they seem the most aloof.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a few good science teachers in my day, but if we're gonna go with a general stereotype of a standard science teacher, then yeah, you kind of get a bit of a dry, out of touch, hard to connect with, And that's what I think the plot kind of was in here, right? Is like it starts off with the smile and then it gets flattened, so it's like nothing, and then by the end it's a frown, and like the that one little chance to make a connection with with the teacher just gone, and it's going to be a long year for poor Hema.
Or she could take vengeance immediately. She's a Burmese python.
Burmese python, I do believe.
I assume that can constrict pretty strong force. Yeah,
it's possible. That's possible. Yeah, no. But yeah, good little ditty. Definitely character driven and a good start to the week. Good start to the week here from Mustard Pickle. So let's go on to this next one here from Slice. Sees Slice's take on this story tonight.
Class, please welcome Stephen, joining us for the rest of the semester from Northeast Public, Mrs. Plainwalk said, smeared red lipstick covering the ivory teeth which jutted out of her mouth. She was a hippo. The classroom stunk of flowery perfume, the type you could buy on a teacher's salary. Stephen is a boa constrictor, so we should all take a moment to recognize the threat he poses to our existence and the horrors he has committed against us. Happy to have you here, Stephen. Hi, yeah, it's actually Stephen, not Stephen. Stephen said, sitting tall on his coils in his desk, regretting each flick of his forked tongue as it picked up that rancid perfume that suffocated the room. My apologies. Welcome, Stephen. Mrs. Plainwalk turned her gigantic body around to face the chalkboard, dipped her padded front feet in a barrel of chalk, sat on her rear, and began writing crudely. Today we're picking up right where we left off last week. Chapter 6, How the Evilness of Snakes is Found in Films of the 20th Century. Did everyone do their assigned reading? Hank! The monkey rested his chin on his desk, eyeing the banana in Meowthew, the cat's book bag, which hung on the back of his chair, right in front of Nathan, the horse, who was munching too loudly from his feed bag to hear anything. Rory rattled her tail and eagerly answered with a well-developed thesis, including references to several Samuel L. Jackson films. The class began looking at Stephen with all types of eyes, while Miss Plainwalk gleefully wrote notes on the board, and Rory kept her rattler up, poised to add more examples of the inherent malevolence of snake kind. Stephen slowly started slithering around the feet of the boy sitting next to him. Within a few minutes, his body enveloped the boy's and crushed the breath out of him. Mrs. Plainwalk saw Stephen unhinge his jaw and start swallowing the boy and decided to end the class for the day, to Rory's disappointment.
All right, Stephen the snake transfers to a new school, suffocated by Mrs. Plainwalk's perfume, whose class is in the midst of evil snakes and pop culture lesson block. The class brown noser, Rory the rattlesnake, cites Black Snake Moan and Snakes on a Plane as examples, while Stephen strangulates and eats a child, forcing the class to dismiss, much to Rory's dismay.
I really question the curriculum choices of the school board. This was a romp. This was delight. The cleverness was suffusing every pore, like every sentence. Where I think Slice has a superpower, and that is going. It's like a character to character to character to character in a sentence, and it's just really it accelerates all the character, the plot, and the setting all in one. It's a characteristic Slice move. It's got so much power to it, and this might be my I've had some favorites in the past, but this was a really real the Nathan the horse the wordplay on top of the character panorama really worked for me in bringing the absurdity of this sort of zoo class together. I love that there was one human boy in there and just instantly shredded and eaten.
And
And
none
none
of
of
the
the other
animals.
animals acted in horror. Like, oh, that's the food chain. Oh,
No one
that's
tried to help. They didn't even dismiss class until like it unhinged the jaw. Like it wasn't while
Mhm.
the boy was being suffocated. Anyway,
Mhm. I
sorry.
thought the combination of language and clever wordplay with the animal theme was really well done. Like it was pushed to the boundaries.
Hmm.
Um, you know, the the threat of to existence and the existential threat and the horrors that snakes have put on whatever all the other animals as the
Hmm.
lesson that this guy comes into, Stephen comes into,
Yeah.
um, was pretty great. It yeah, it was delightful. I don't know if it had a huge plot other than just the absurdity of
Hmm.
it was just a surreal classroom scene. I'll also like to shout out some of Storybot's hippo images were really comically like delightful. watching watching that playback. What about you? What did you think of this?
Yeah, it was. I think really most of my notes center around that sentence that you already kind of covered with going over hoo hoo ha Hank
Hoo
and
hoo ha Hank. Storybot's recitation of hoo hoo ha Hank was uncannily accurate.
just that was a classic. That was a great sentence, but not only because it was like extra fun and all that, and it worked in all those cat or those animal sound puns. Um, but here's another couple reasons why it was interesting to me. The only person in the class without a non-animal name is Rory, which is the snake that is brown nosing, raising its rattle to tattle on snakes, and you would assume that it might be like a Rory or something like that. Um, and so that's also, and then that the other sub bullet to that is Mrs. Plainwalk should have known that Stephen probably pronounced his name Stephen and not Stephen. And I don't know, there's like, it adds, there were so many layers in there. Like when I'm trying to get into the mindset of some of these animal characters. And, sometimes I think I should just stop and think, hey, it's a one-page story, not
Oh
get too far
no,
into
we
the
can't
psyches.
stop. There is no such thing as overinterpretation, Tom.
So, do you think Mrs. Plainwalk knew that his pronunciation of the name was Stephen and was trying to like push Stephen to humanize his name in an attempt to de-snake himself?
Yeah, it seems like that was the agenda. This seems like a real kind of this was a teacher who was dogmatic about seeing a certain kind of I don't know, propaganda rammed down these young pupils' throats. Not unlike the boy that
Not like the boy that goes down. And I also really enjoyed how that was like the Steven's response to like
yeah.
this. It's got to be this super awkward sort of thing, right? Where it's like, yeah, you're terrible, and then like everyone's looking at you, and you're like, like,
Yeah. Like, um, I do feel like this was so. I didn't feel like connected to Steven's point of view at all.
mhm.
I wasn't like other than like the fact that he was vulnerable, and I was like, you always identify with vulnerable characters generally as a reader. But I didn't know what he wanted. I didn't know what his end game was. Maybe that's what like school is. What do they want? Just freedom from being in Mrs. Plainview's
Mhm.
purview.
Yeah.
So
And yeah, sorry, go on.
I don't know. This was I'm pretty satisfied though. Like this was a good start to the week from
I
Slice.
I also enjoyed the thought of the hippo writing on the chalkboard with its massive
Yeah. That was
claws, like
absurd.
just really good stuff there.
Absurd
Just- All
visually.
right, let's all right, let's see if this absurdity will continue with our third story in the podium tonight, and that is coming from Ehud. I sat down, eyes still crusty from a late night watching another football team game. Excuse me, is this Miss Henderson's class? A soft voice hissed at me. I looked up, and a 6-foot boa constrictor sat coiled, uncomfortably and endlessly adjusting to keep its backpack in place. I thought I was dreaming. It was a great day. I showed Bo the cool hangouts, the library, under the staircase, the side hallway no one hung out in. I was so happy I asked for a hug, but she squeezed tighter and tighter. "Mr. Riley, wake up! Time for B period!" Mrs. Henderson's hand clutched my forearm, hand purple from her grip.
All right, a tired student finds a friend in a new boa constrictor and has one of the best days, showing the library, stairwell, and lonely hallway no one hangs out in, only to be shaken awake from that dream by his teacher with a strangle grip on his forearm.
I liked how this was in the first person perspective. We get an eye set down. We get somebody that we set the stage that they're tired from staying up late the night before. And then we get this sort of surrealist, like, was the grip implying some sort of psychological, in dream world, that was where the snake became? Was this a snake? Was this a snake character, or was this just a human dreaming, becoming snake?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I read it as a human dreaming about a snake, and I kind of like one of those things, like when you hear the alarm beeping in the background and it suffuses into your dream. I think the hug of that tighter and tighter grip was the teacher on the forearm trying to shake him awake. That's how I took it.
By the way, out of all three stories, teachers not really coming off in a positive
Not
light.
really looking
They're
good
not
these
really
days.
educating the young boa constrictors of tomorrow.
No.
You know? Used to be a profession that was a calling. It was a mission. We're just getting a bunch of kind of petty bureaucrats trying to institute order to all these snake children.
Yeah, that's a fact. Overall, yeah, not looking great for the teachers, for sure. Let's see here. Oh, the other characters in this one, at least, this kid kind of seems sad. This first person narrator, it needs a friend for sure. And then I really
That was
enjoyed
a lonely stairwell. That was a very lonely stairwell.
all the cool places,
Yeah.
like this lonely stairwell, and I thought it was interesting. The snake kind of mirrored that with like it was actually a comical scene in my mind. A snake trying to wear a backpack and just like forever like shifting through the loops and like not having any arms to hold it, and might have been a subconscious reflection of that student's dream state there. I don't know. That's, again, this is getting kind of deep here into a one-page story.
Yeah, no, we're not even scratching the surface.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot more than
these are Rorschach tests directly into the subconscious.
That is a fact. So yeah, interesting. I think the plot twist with the like snapping from the dream space and the tighter hug, it could have been done a little bit better. Like actually feeling the suffocating, or you know what I mean, being like, oh, I was about, one of those things where like you're about to die and then you wake up, or I don't know. That's
what looking really... at the Dorito, the Sussex County Dorito over there. It does seem like those are similar triangles, right? It seems like the characters are the closest, the settings are next, and these were all kind of plotless little snapshots. And I think that might be a function of the prompt itself being so particular.
Right. The prompt, I mean, it new student, school, seated at the desk next to yours. It's a boa constrictor. It seems like it, even though like the setting and the characters are set up, so it seems like the plot is wide open. That's exactly right. Where it almost felt like so much time has to be dedicated to the character and setting that the plot kind of lost out. And interesting analysis there, reader. So let's see here. I guess that's, this is just pointless. There are only two opinions that really matter here on Clash of the Pencils, and neither one of them are ours. So past 24 minutes, very pointless. So let's get to this one. Storybot 3000s. We've seen this top 3 picks from Storybot. The other opinions that matter are the people out there in the internet reading these stories and voting. And there's only one way to find those out, and that is to go over here and click refresh and see what happens. So that's just what we're gonna do. Boom! There you have it. Slice on top with 165 points, followed by Mustard Pickle, Sliver, Ehud, and Racontus, all getting in there. Interesting. I don't know what's going on with because one of those should be Ehud should be in the top 3 too, right? You would think.
You would think. Storybot is fickle, you know. Maybe there's a boa constrictor on the back end.
That's a good point. Well, anyways, Slice taking home the victory. That's all that really matters. Is the NFT going out there to Slice. Mustard Pickle in second, Sliver in third, Ehud in fourth, and Racontus in fifth. So interesting start to the week there. Let's check out tomorrow's prompt. See what's going on. In the basement of your best friend's house, there's an enormous high-tech machine with a sign that says off limits. When your friend accidentally flips the on switch, what happens?
Ooh.
Wow.
One of those very specific scenarios.
Yeah, quite specific. What would you think happens if someone was in your basement and flipped on the on switch that you have clearly marked to not do that?
You're either going to go on a journey or somebody's going on a journey to that basement.
All right.
It's like one of those two things is really what's about to happen.
Yeah. Who knows? It really depends on probably you or your parents' occupation. That would be my guess. As far as, is your dad a rocket scientist building a rocket? The house is a spaceship, or, is your dad a teacher and brushing up on snake literature? I don't know. Could be anything.
We'll have to see tomorrow.
There's only one way to find out.
Next time.
And that's for us to finish this show strong with the top 5 sentences of the day. Number 5 from Mustard Pickle. So does that mean you're a Myanmarese python? That science teacher just not really happy that Hema giving him the business. Number 4 from Ehud. I showed Bo the cool hangouts, the library, under the staircase, the side hallway no one hung out in.
Those sound like very cool hangouts. Very cool.
Number 3 from Slice. Hi, yeah, it's actually Steven, not Steven, Steven said, sitting tall on his coils in his desk, regretting each flick of his forked tongue as it picked up that rancid perfume that suffocated the room. Just a nice little...
I like the rancid perfume suffocating the room. And I like the idea that the perfume is suffocating in the same way that Steven's going to suffocate the life out of that victim in the end.
And I also enjoy the regret of, like, I should have just gone with Steven so I didn't even have to smell the perfume.
No, it's very intricate.
There's a lot going on in there. Number 2 from Ehud. I looked up and a 6-foot boa constrictor sat coiled, uncomfortably and endlessly adjusting to keep its backpack in place. The little backpack. How do you get a backpack on a snake?
I don't know.
Nobody does. Not even Storybot. But Storybot does know the number 1 line it picked for today, and that was from Slice. Ooh, Hank! The monkey rested his chin on his desk, eyeing the banana, and meowed you the cat's book bag, which hung on the back of his chair right in front of Nathan, the horse, who was munching too loudly on his feed bag to hear.
Wow. That might be the top sentence ever on Clash of the Pencils.
That's got to be up there. Whenever we do the top 100 sentence countdown.
Puns and onomatopoeia. That really...
Unbelievable. And again, like you were saying, just driving all sorts of character development, the monkey eyeing the banana, The cat is. Is the cat taunting the monkey? You know what I mean? Like, because that's pretty cat-like to just. I don't think cats eat bananas, but just have one in the backpack, taunting the monkey. The horse just eating.
A lot of animal backpacks too. Jam Sport. This is a market opportunity. This is a market segment we are not fully exploring. Animal backpacks. Get on it.
That's a good point. That's a good point. We'll have our marketing team reach out to their marketing team and see.
You're welcome.
If they want to sponsor this episode of Clash of the Pencils, please, yeah, for somebody out there. Anyways, before we get too lost in the weeds, that wraps up another round of Clash of the Pencils nightly live stream. So join us right back here tomorrow, same time, same place for another epic battle of tales. And then, so until next time, we'll see you folks out on the paper.
Do you want to participate in the Clash of the Pencils and Story Squad universe? It's easy. Join us on Twitter or in our Discord server at Story Squad HQ. There's lots of ways to participate. Draw some fan art. Play our addictive game of jokes and master strokes, Word Hoax. Or join Greg's monthly book club. And as always, remember to pay your cat tax. Money, fame, and love can all be found here at Story Squad.